Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead.
Hi, welcome back to GBN Live. I'm your host, Tracy Hansen, and with me today is Declan McGonigal with MyBeach Vacation Rentals. I do want to thank our sponsor real quick before we get started, Grand Strand Law Group. They have offices in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach, and you can get in touch with them at 843-492-5422 or also at grandstrandlawgroup.com. And they're ready to help you with all your real estate, probate, wills, anything of that nature. Also, don't forget to give us permission to show your questions and comments, and please feel free to leave any questions and comments you have for either our guest or the show. You may have to do that to give us permission and go to StreamYard.com. So you'll go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, and then that will grant us permission to show your comments and your questions. And also, anything, like I said, any questions you have for our guest. So our guest today, Declan McGonigal with MyBeach Vacation Rentals. He's with the Grande Dunes Chapter, and we will be right back. All right, well, welcome back. I'm your host, Tracy Hansen, and with me is Declan McGonigal with MyBeach Vacation Rentals. Welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So before we get into the meat of everything that you do, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm 24 years old. I'm I guess one of the rare born and raised. I've been here my whole life.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. There's not. For better or for worse.
It's like a unicorn.
Yeah, I know. That's what people say. But I went to the University of South Carolina, so that was, for the 4 years I was in college, I did live in a few other cities, and I even did a study abroad in Rome one summer. So I've been around to a few different places. My parents are from Buffalo and Philadelphia, so Northeast. They're kind of the typical move down. They moved down about 30 years ago. I've got 3 siblings. They're all younger than me, and we're a really tight family. So hopefully they all stay around, but I'm sure they'll stay close. And they're all going to the University of South Carolina, but hopefully when they're done there, they come back down here and stay close.
Right. Yeah. You know what everybody else is figuring out, that it's better down here than in the Northeast.
Yeah, a bunch of my...
I'm from New York myself.
Yeah. A bunch of my buddies now are from the Northeast, and a bunch of my roommates in college were from the Northeast, and they all either moved to Florida or stayed in South Carolina or North Carolina or Charlotte. So it's a good place to be. I love it here. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else besides the beach. So I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we all like it too.
Yeah. Everyone that I know down here loves it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about MyBeach Vacation Rentals. How long have you been with them, and what do you do there?
Yeah. So I'm the owner-operator.
Okay.
We opened about, I guess, a little over a year ago, a year and a few months. We manage short-term rentals really in the North Myrtle Beach and Shore Drive area. We also manage some long-term rentals. I do prefer the short-term rentals. They're a lot more fun to manage. But yeah, really trying to focus on North Myrtle Beach and the Shore Drive / Arcadian area. It's a big rental market, so a lot of popular return guests. Myrtle Beach is a great area for it. I like to say it's got the 3 A's. It's got accessibility, it's got the amenities you need, and it's got the affordability. So for the people that may live in the Northeast, whether it's Ohio or North Carolina, New York, it's really easy for them to get down here, and we've got great beaches that are usually pretty open. If you come down June, July, they can be quite packed, but usually have plenty of space, wide beaches, good ocean. So
we have plenty of beach, that's for sure.
It's a good market for it.
Yeah, definitely, and plenty of vacation rentals for people. I mean, it really is.
Yeah,
there's everything out there.
Thousands upon thousands of different. Not in my company, but just across the entire Grand Strand. Really, you've got a bunch of different neighborhoods or different areas you can go where you'll have, a little bit more activity, or North Myrtle Beach tends to be a little bit more quiet, more, I'd say, family friendly, family oriented. So like I said, it's a hard destination to beat.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So let's talk a little bit about property owners and working with a property owner, and what does that process look like
Yeah.
from their point of view?
Yeah. So I think sometimes people get confused whether I'm when I first introduce myself and introduce the company, they don't know if I'm timeshare or if I'm a travel agent of some type. But really what I do is I'm an accommodations host. So kind of like a hotel, really it's my job to host guests. The only difference being that instead of having one big, large structure like a hotel, we've got houses spread out in a bunch of different areas. So really for property owners, it would be, I guess they're my main customer there. If it's someone, whether they're out of state or in state, that has a rental property that they want to rent out on a short-term basis. So our stays can range from 2 days to 30 days. So if it's an owner that wants to rent out their home like that, basically they'll approach me and I'll kind of educate them on what I do. If they like me and I like them and it's going to be a good fit, I'll basically bring them onto the program. I'll take over their home. I'll essentially do a walk through the home, make sure it's safe, make sure it's got all the inventory that you need to host guests well, and kind of keep up our company standards. And then one of the big benefits is that we can get your home ready in as little as 3 days. I mean, we can get your home live and booking.
Wow.
Or able to book. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get those bookings coming in. It's definitely not real estate investing is definitely not a get rich quick scheme. It does take time to build that guest sort of database and have people that want to come back to your property year after year. But
right, I bet that's the goal.
Yeah, and that's really the big goal, is to get those return guests, but that does take time. But like I said, we can get a property owner's home live and ready to book in as little as 3 days.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your innovative processes, how you use data, et cetera, to be ahead of your competition, because there's competition for you out there, for sure.
There's a ton of competition, and you've got companies that have hundreds, if not thousands, of homes, and you also have some smaller companies that might manage 10 to 40 homes. So there's a ton of competition. I think one thing we really do well is on the data side is our revenue management. So we use a platform called Wheelhouse. That's kind of a dynamic pricing tool that sort of automates, I guess, a lot of the processes, or it automates the pricing for each of these individual homes on a daily basis. And basically what it does is it just takes a lot of different data points from the local area, as far as events, different types of accommodations, the supply that we have, and it also takes data from how quickly that supply is booking and how much demand they may have. And it basically merges those two and gives you this dynamic pricing that will update on a daily basis. We also kind of put in our own input. I like to think that we have a lot of local knowledge on local events and what months tend to be really popular and what we should be getting what revenue we should be getting homeowners. So we'll kind of merge the data side of it and kind of our local inputs and get out a really good price so that we can maximize the revenue.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's awesome. We do have a question for you. So how far out, this question is from Casey Brannon. Yeah. Hey, Casey. I have to take my glasses off. Okay. How far out do you recommend booking?
Yeah, so if you're a guest, I would definitely say the sooner the better. If you go, and I recommend for guests that stay at one of our properties and really enjoy it, which I like to say we do have a lot of guests that enjoy our stuff. I always recommend you book it a year out if you can. You book that thing as soon as possible. That's when you'll get the best price. You'll kind of get that early bird pricing.
Okay, that's good to know.
In advance. And it's also an availability thing. In June and July, I mean, really for June and July, those are our most popular months. And then May, August, that's kind of our hot season as well. Those dates tend to get booked up about 6 months in advance. So for those dates, if you're coming during that time, I would book it out well in advance. Okay. Some people do have plans, so it's a little hard to plan that far. If you're looking at maybe the shoulder season or the off-season months, maybe October, November, January, December, you can do a shorter time frame. maybe 2 to 3 months I would book out. But it is better to do as soon as possible so you can get that cheaper early bird
Okay,
pricing.
that's good to know. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that made a difference
Yeah.
in what you're paying
Yeah,
out of
definitely.
your pocket.
Definitely,
So
yeah. That's
who doesn't
what
like to save a dollar,
exactly,
right?
Exactly, and it can save you. I mean, it can save you a pretty significant amount. I do that for myself when
Yeah.
I'm booking. I've recognized that. You can also get some. You know, it's like anything else. If there's a date last minute that you can book, you know, that's coming up within a week or 2 weeks, you might get a good deal on that, but it's just a little
Right,
riskier.
but a
You
little
might
risky,
not-
sure.
That might not be available.
Yeah, I mean, we are a pretty popular vacation
Yeah.
destination.
Yeah, yeah. In the summer
So,
months,
yeah.
we're running 80 to 100% occupancy. So
Yeah,
it's hard
wow,
to-
that's
it's hard to get
fantastic
in.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how many people come down here.
It's a lot of people.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, we have, you know, I like our market because we have, you know, we have a very popular season where,
Yeah.
you know, we'll go from, I don't know what our local number is. It might be 40,000, 50,000 the off season. Then we'll have 1 million people that come through during the summer. So it's nice to have that season where you do get a lot of activity and a lot of folks are coming in and enjoying the area, but then you get those off-season months to kind of readjust and improve.
Yeah,
you know,
I
some
agree.
different things.
Yep,
So
I
it's good.
agree.
It's good for that.
So let's talk a little bit about marketing the properties for the owners. What does that look like?
Yeah, so, you know, especially with my generation, really popular that everyone knows are Airbnb and Vrbo or VRBO, and then Booking.com gets a little bit of it too. Really, those sites are great because it has made it super easy for guests that are looking for unique accommodations to book. You know, the Airbnb and Vrbo aren't really used for hotels, but for my side of things, the short-term rentals, it is tremendous for that. So we will book on Airbnb and Vrbo. We do advertise on there. We do, depending on your listing, if it's a bigger home, we will put it on Booking.com. But the majority of our bookings, I'd say, you know, 95% of the bookings we get could come through Airbnb and Vrbo.
Okay,
The vast
really?
majority. So
Wow.
we really try to focus on those and optimize. It's, you know, optimizing and marketing on those platforms is very similar to Google. If you're on the, you know, if you're on the second and third page of Google, not many people are seeing you. I can't remember the last time I was on the third page of Google. So it's kind of similar with Airbnb and Vrbo. You want to make sure that you're showing up in those first 20 to 40 listings to make
Right.
sure you get your property booked as soon as you can. We also do some direct bookings, and that's kind of where we want to move towards.
Okay.
It's good for both us and the guests. The guests can save money because they don't have to pay the Airbnb and Vrbo fees, which can be anywhere
Okay.
from, you know, 6 to 10%.
And that's if they book directly with you.
Yep, if they book
Okay.
direct, so we have a book directing website
Okay.
that they can go on. We're going through some renovations on that right now, trying to make it a little bit easier and I guess more accessible to guests. But that's kind of our what we're working towards. We want to, you know, like I said, the vast majority come through the OTAs of Airbnb and Vrbo right now. We kind of want to flip that so that we're not too reliant on those. You know,
Right.
sometimes those platforms can change how they do things.
Right.
And like I said, when it comes to listing, you want to be on those first 1 to 2 pages. And when they have a big software update, you can go from the second or third listing and you could, you know, all of a sudden drop down to the 50th listing.
Right. And you have no control
You
over
have
that
no
because it's not
control. Yeah,
right.
the guys in New York or California
Yeah.
who are controlling the software, that's all in their control. You have really no control over that. But with the direct booking, we have full control over that. And we kind of grow that through our guest database. So we're always, you know, grabbing guest data that we're happy with us. We'll grab their emails and phone numbers and we'll keep them in the loop as far as discounts go and email newsletters to feed them to that
Right.
direct booking site.
Right,
But that's
gotcha.
that's kind of what we focus on right now.
Right. I can see why the Vrbo and the Airbnb is so important,
Yeah.
you know, coming from getting so much business from it that way. But
Yeah.
definitely a good point to go directly
Yeah.
through you to do the bookings
It
as
is.
well.
And
you
like
know?
I said, it's ideal for guests because they will save, you know, they can
Right.
save anywhere from 6 to 15%. They can-
Right.
Which is
And-
significant. I mean,
yeah.
some of these houses will book for, you know, some of them 10,000 a week in the
Right.
summer. So, you know, 10% could be $1,000.
Yeah.
You know, for your vacation. That could be used for, you know, restaurants or whatever you
Yeah,
like. But
for sure.
it's a significant savings. And like I said, it's great that we have Airbnb and Vrbo because it helps a business like mine get started.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you really want it to be your business, and to have that, you've got to have that direct booking element, which we're trying to grow out and optimize.
Right, and then I can see how the consumer gets a little more, you know, maybe hands-on care as well.
Yeah,
you know, going directly through you.
And we also try to offer, you know, a few other, I guess, benefits to booking through the direct website.
Right.
So whether that's a gift basket when they show up, or you know, a little discount booklet for local discounts at restaurants or different activities in the area.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely try to encourage direct bookings.
Great. So real quick, what's the website for people to go to book directly?
Yeah, so it's MyBeach VR. It's the company MyBeach and then VR. So VR short for vacation rentals, but mybeachvr.com.
Gotcha. And it's right there at the bottom of the screen as well. So write it down, everyone.
There you go.
And pass it along to all your vacationing friends. So after the break, we're going to discuss a little bit about how MyBeach Vacations works for their guests. And on that side, so stay with us and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jess the Sand. I've been a canine liaison at Grand Strand Law Group for, 30 years? What's that? You don't believe me? I meant 30 dog years, of course. First rule of lawyering, read the fine print. Anywho, my humans at Grand Strand Law Group have a combined 20 years experience. I know, not as much as me, but that's in people years. So yeah, still pretty impressive. Real estate, estate planning, or probate, you need GSLG.
Grand Strand Law Group. Trust us, we have a dog.
Great Business Networking grew out of the idea that by creating lasting friendships within the community, we can make the community even better.
I was looking to network with professionals and to be able to refer my clients to somebody that I trust.
Well, it's really important to trust the members of the group because we really generate quality referrals, and to know somebody, be friends with them, and get that the qualified referral is the key to success.
It is networking, but it doesn't feel like networking, and that is important to me. I come to the meetings, I have fun, I make great connections, and I help grow my business.
GBN, these are some of the best professionals in the market, and having that resource available to me, that's priceless.
Well, GBN is a network of business professionals that build long-lasting friendships that will not only grow my business, will grow yours as well. That's what referral marketing is all about.
GBN really is the most important marketing for your business. Check us out today.
You're used to it.
Are we good? All right. Well, welcome back to GBN Live. I'm your host, Tracy Hansen, and with me is Declan McGonigal with MyBeach Vacation Rentals. Before we get started again, we're just going to thank our sponsor, Grand Strand Law Group. Awesome. I've worked with them many times and highly recommend them. They have offices in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach, and you can reach them at 843-492-5422 or at grandstrandlawgroup.com. And if you have any questions for today's guest, please type them into your comments, and we'll do our best to get them answered on GBN Live. You may have to, real quick, you may have to go to streamyard.com/Facebook to grant us permission. So, Declan, before we dig into the guest benefits, your team also offers property care and maintenance for properties.
Yep.
So can you tell me a little bit about those services as well?
Yeah. So that's, I think, one thing that kind of, I like to say, is part of our competitive advantage. We try to make our program as, it's always a balance of owners and guests, but our owners are really important to us, and they're really who we serve. And we also serve guests, and that's a big piece of it. But as far as the owners go, one thing that they don't like is to be nickeled and dimed on every little minor fix that you might have to do, whether it's nailing in a board or fixing a chair or whatever. So we really try to, anything that we can fix, really with a hammer, a screwdriver, a plunger is what we like to say, we'll cover completely free. Or I guess it's included in our program. And we do recurring.
That's great.
Yeah, we do recurring inspections after every checkout. So
That's great.
We've always got eyes on the property. Always trying to keep it, like I said, going back to the company standards. We've got a certain standard we like to maintain for our guests, so that they maintain they keeps them happy and returning and whatnot. So yeah, a lot of the small stuff we try to handle. If it's a bigger issue, such as replacing a toilet, or sometimes or recently we had to repair a deck on one of the properties. Those we contract out. Those we want handled by professional contractors that are licensed and insured, especially an issue with a deck. You do have guests that come and they like to have a fun time, and they might be on the deck and moving around a bit. You want to make sure that is as safe as possible. So that sort of stuff we will contract out. But another benefit is that we do have good relationships with a lot of local contractors that will give us deals when we send business to them. And obviously that will save the homeowner a little bit of money. So yeah, we try to, like I said, we try to balance, but I think one thing we do really well is that maintenance.
That's great too, because I'm sure a lot of your homeowners are out of state, because a lot of people do buy vacation properties down here, investment properties, but don't necessarily live in town. So just knowing that there's someone to look over those little things, because honestly, a lot of those smaller things are the things that can worry a homeowner, because they're not there to just fix it themselves, and they don't want to have to, call, someone just to fix something quick, or plunge a toilet. You don't need a plumber for that.
Sometimes people are, it can be a bit unreliable. That you might call them to do something, and then they're expected to do it on Wednesday, and then you call them on Thursday, and they still haven't got by, and then you're out of town, and you don't know how to really verify things. So we try to be as transparent as possible whenever. Usually if there's issue with homeowners, it's because they just don't have clarity on something, and that's our fault. If they're worried about something, it's our fault, and it's our job to provide clarity and really update them on exactly what's going on, so that they're aware. We've got homeowners in Arizona, we've got Ohio, New York, North Carolina. We've got them all over, and it's just not reasonable for them to come down and check on the property every month, nor should they be expected to. That's again, that falls on us. So we really try to keep tight eyes on the property. One, to maintain it. That's, I think, one thing that sometimes can get missed is you focus on the revenue, and the money's great and it's flowing good, but to keep those returning guests, to make sure you maintain the value of your asset, right? The rental property you have is one of your assets. You want to maintain the equity and the value you have in it, and a piece of that is maintaining the property in really good shape.
Absolutely, it is an investment for sure. So for a guest, how does the process work for them for booking, and what kind of options do they have when they book? Meaning, can they book for just one night? Is there a minimum or a maximum with you? How does that work?
So we do have a 2-night maximum throughout the year.
Minimum, 2-night minimum?
2-night minimum throughout the year. So that can change from month to month. So for example, June and July, like I said, very popular months. It's summertime. It's typically when families can have the ability to travel for an extended period and not just a weekend. So our minimum for June and July is 7 nights. Our minimum for May and August is 5 nights, and then it does trail off in the off-season months to that 2-night minimum. As far as how they can book, like I said, they can go through the OTAs of Airbnb and Vrbo, but again, I would recommend direct booking whenever you're traveling. Insider tip, I guess, whenever you're traveling, it is very easy to go to Expedia or Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com. It's very easy, but you will save money, whether it's a hotel or a management company that hosts short-term rentals. You will save money if you go direct through them, because you don't have to pay those fees that Airbnb and Vrbo charges. They have to make money, the fees make sense, but if you go direct, you'll avoid those and you'll save money. We've also got a number on our website that you can call. You can call in. We're happy to walk you through the kind of reservation process or do that for you while you're on the phone. So yeah, we try to offer as many options as possible. We're going to put a live chat option on there, so really just providing as many avenues and options to make guests comfortable with booking.
That's
our
awesome.
goal. Yeah.
That's awesome. So they book a reservation, they show up, they're having a great time. What if there's a problem at 3 a.m.? Who are they going to call? Do they call you guys? Are you available for that?
Yeah, so we have an emergency number.
Okay.
We do outsource to another company that has our information and is kind of filled in on each of the property specifics. These, again, it's not a hotel, so we don't have these uniform properties. Each property will have a specific door code or specific layout or different way to access it. So we outsource with a company that is available in the hours that we're not. So you can access our company anytime between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Okay.
If it's outside those hours, if it's at a 3
3
a.m., we'll have somebody on the phone that you can talk to. If it's a direct booking, if it's not a direct booking, you do have access to the representatives or the support with Airbnb and Vrbo or Booking.com.
Gotcha.
You do have that support. But if there is one in those off hours, which sometimes happens, a guest might be out late, or you might have someone that shows up at midnight, and you've got to provide support to them. So we do have those options. If something does come up, most of the time we can handle it over the phone. If not, there's ways to get a hold of me, but that usually doesn't happen that late at night where I'll have to show up. But if they need me there, I'm always there.
Right. Gotcha. Very good. We've been talking a lot about the Airbnb and Vrbos. What are the benefits of booking with a company like yours versus a consumer going directly through an individual on Vrbo?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest issues I see that comes up in forums or Facebook or these groups is that a lot of people when they book through Airbnb and Vrbo, they do have some problems because there's not a sort of set standard for everybody. There's a rough standard that people have that hosts have to work within, but these accommodations span across countries, so it is a little tough to keep individual hosts up to these set standards all across the world. It is a very tough job for Airbnb and Vrbo to enforce a really strict set of standards. So one thing I do see that comes up a lot when you go through an individual host is those standards are lacking. So you'll show up and the experiences might be flawed in some ways, whether that's just the check-in or it's not easy to access these individual hosts, or different hosts provide different sort of amenities and sort of items in the home. With us, it's very standardized. So you'll come to us, we'll provide everything from toilet paper, paper towel, soap, dish soap, different coffee options, a lot of the typical stuff. And then like I said earlier, sometimes we'll provide that welcome basket. That can be normal with our direct bookings. So that whenever you book with us, whether it's a 7-bedroom home in North Myrtle or a 1-bedroom oceanfront condo in Myrtle Beach, you're going to have that set standard as far as the check-in process, as far as the ability to communicate and connect with us, as far as how we treat you. This is it's a service business.
Right. It sounds more like peace of mind.
Yeah, it's a peace of mind thing. Guests. The last thing guests want to deal with is a bad host.
Right.
When they come in,
issue.
and they're happy to even pay a little bit more to avoid that.
Right.
So that's what we kind of provide is professional service, professional standards, consistency.
Right. Well, it sounds good. It sounds like a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
To have that, to just the peace of mind of getting into your vacation property smoothly, knowing everything's going to be set up for you and ready to go.
Yeah, and there could be. I'm bad talking individual hosts. Some of the best hosts I've stayed with, are individuals. They're not necessarily big companies, but I think you do have that consistency and peace of mind that you really want. Our return, when we have return guests, they're returning. They love the house. But also the other half of it is that we were there when they had issues. We get 5-star reviews all the time with guests that maybe we weren't expecting it with because a small issue came up. But one of the things I think we do tremendously well is we go and fix that issue as soon as possible. You know, sometimes we can't be there in 5 minutes because, you know, our office, again, these things are spread out. We might not be able to get there in 5 minutes, but we do try to ease those pains or issues that a guest might have. And I think that's I think that's half of the reason they come back.
I bet it is. Yeah, I bet it is. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, so you can get in touch with Declan at 843-516-4000 or at mybeachvr.com. Before we go, just a quick question for you about why referral marketing is so important to you, and why did you choose GBN?
Yeah, referral marketing is huge specifically for my business. That's the biggest,
sure is.
That's the biggest marketing component of my business right now, and I think it should be a focus of any small business. As far as GBN goes, it's been fantastic. I think the motto of friends first, business comes second is huge, and it can be, you've got a wide range of networking groups and events that you can go with to meet people, but I think the relationship side of things does get lost in these big networking events, and that's it's great to go shake a hand and give out a card and talk to someone for 5 minutes, but really the best business or referrals or just friends, the best people that I've been around at these events are the ones that you stay connected with. And I know we were talking about it before the show started. We have a lot of personal events with GBN between our group. We went to Topgolf. We've got a Christmas party, and it just builds this really good rapport and relationship. And I think that's unique to GBN. There's not many others that do that well.
And from what I've heard, it is pretty unique to GBN. Yeah. So it's been great. Yeah, it's been working out great. Well, thank you for joining us, Declan. It's been great talking to you. I love learning about your business. Yeah. And we'll see you all next time. Remember, if it's Wednesday, it's GBN Live.
That's it.
Take care.
Thanks.